Hello friends, so welcome to this lecture on shared access signature key deep dive. So remember in the previous lecture we discussed about the various ways to authorize the request within the storage account. So we can use the storage account Azure AD and the SAS key. So in this lecture we'll dig deeper into how we can use the SAS keys, its limitations and all those things. So, just to give you a quick recap, remember in the previous lectures we discussed that SAS key with the storage account keys, the limitation is we cannot provide granular level access or time bound access. So that is with the help of which we can shared access signature key, or you can say using shared access signature keys, we can do that. So shared access signature keys provide secure delegate access to your resources within the storage account without actually compromising the security of your data. With SAS, like discussed, you can provide the granular control over the client, how it can access the data, means at what time it can access the data and at what time it should, the access should be stopped. So you can provide the start time, end time, all those things we can provide with the help of shared access signature keys. You can control access, what type of resources client may access, what permissions they have. Is it like, whether they are able to create, write tables within the table storage or create blobs within the blob storage, or they have access to list blobs only. So all those access we can control with the help of signatures keys, which we were not able to do with the storage account keys. And there are different type of shared access signatures we'll study, but let's try to understand a bit more detail into the shared access signature key. So shared access signature key is a URI. You can say, if you'll see the diagram, that points to one or more storage account and includes a token that contains a special set of query parameters. Just give me a moment, I'll explain that in bit details. Just pay attention. So, and the token dictates basically how the resources may be accessed by the client. So you can think of the storage, this URI is basically the name of your storage account and details about that. And then we have is the token, which contains a special set of query parameters. See, one thing, try to understand from the name. With the name we are using is shared access signature keys, right? And this signature is used by the Azure Storage to authorize access to your storage resources. I mean the resources within the storage account. The SAS token, which is which is there on the left side, you can think is a string that one can generate on the client side. For example, using one of the Azure Storage account libraries, this can be generated on the client side itself. And remember, Azure Storage, when it provide access to the resources within the storage account, it does not track the token, as the name suggests, it is signature keys. And you can create unlimited number of SAS tokens on the client side. And once you create a SAS, you can distribute it to your client that required access to resources within the storage account. And now when a client provide this SAS URI to this to the Azure Storage as a part of the request, that service check the SAS parameters and that signature basically to verify that it is a valid request for authorizing the request the request for the token or not. Remember, it is authorizing, you can say, it is verifying the signature over here to verify that it is valid for authorizing the request, not the token. So here the access is provided, means the signatures are verified. So that is why we say that shared access signature keys are used. And if service verifies that, okay, let's say the signature is valid, the request is authorized. Otherwise, the request is declined with the code. So this is about the shared access signature keys. And now we have the different type of shared access signatures keys we'll discuss. So shared access signature key, while recording this lecture, there is a a type of shared access signature key user delegation, but which is still under preview. You can use the Microsoft documentation to study that. But here in this lecture, we'll study about the policy based SAS, service level SAS, and account level SAS, which is used to access the data within the storage account. Means the policy based shared access signature key, service level shared access signature key, and account level shared access signature key. So when there is a need to access only one of the services, we'll use service level. When there is a need to access one or more, we'll use the account level SAS. So let's study in detail. So primarily there are two type of SAS keys that a user can generate. It could be a service level and the second could be account level SAS key. So like we discussed, to provide access to only one of the resources like blob, table or queue, only one, not table and blob or blob or queue. And you can control access what a user can do for a particular time, like read a blob or write to a blob. So means you can provide the granular level of access to the resources within the storage account using the service level shared access signature keys. Remember the keyword only one. Or like get a list of blobs in a container or add a data to a table. So all those things user can do. And now we has the account level SAS. See, account level SAS delegate access to one or more storage services like blob and table, blob and queue. And using this, you can carry out operation activities like assigning a key to a user so that he can create a blob or create a table. And you can say it is used to grant permissions which cannot be used using the service level SAS. So like in service level SAS, in case you need to provide permissions to blob and table or blob and queue, you cannot do that. So with the help of account level, I mean the limitation of service level SAS is removed by the account level SAS. For providing access to multiple services at once can be used by the uh, your account level SAS. Now we have is the type of SAS keys. So there are two type of SAS keys. One is ad hoc SAS and the second is service SAS with stored access policy. So remember this diagram, we discussed about the SAS keys we have like policy based, service level and account level. So shared access key can take one of the below forms. One is ad hoc SAS. So when you create a Adhoc SAS, the start time, expiry time, permission for the SAS, all specified in the SAS URI. Remember we discussed about the SAS URI. Or implied if the start time is omitted. Any type of SAS can be a Adhoc SAS. Means we discussed about the service level SAS and account level SAS over here. So both these are type of Adhoc SAS only, right? So if you'll see the diagram, we discussed about the service level SAS and the account level SAS. So these both are the ad hoc SAS. So which we have just studied, that providing access to a single resource or providing access to multiple resource, we can use the uh, service level SAS and your account level SAS. Now we have the service SAS with the stored access policy. So why we are explaining this policy base as after studying the service level and account level SAS. See, there is a certain limitation with the SAS keys over here when we use the service level SAS or the account level SAS. So but the limitation is, let's say once you have generated the SAS keys and given it to your application or user to access your storage account, and there is a need to change the permissions, let's say from writing the blob to just to read the blob, you cannot do that and you do not have any control once you have given it to the user the SAS key. For that we generate the policy based SAS keys. In this let's say you'll create a container or create a container and create a storage access policy, and the container you have created, you have attached the storage access policy onto that container, in which you will define the start access time, end time, or different permissions like read, write. Now next time when you will generate the SAS keys, this based on the storage policy, in this case it will inherit all the permissions and the granular control you have provided from the storage policy itself. For any changes you want to change or you want to change the operation or expire the SAS key, then only you need to change in the policy itself. Means the control which is getting lost in case of SAS keys can be done via with the help of policy based SAS keys. So stored policy is defined on a resource container which can be blob, table or queue, and then stored policy can be used to manage constraints like this more services, uh, shared access signature keys. And when you associate a service SAS with a stored access policy, the SAS inherits the constraint like inherit start time, expiry time, permissions defined for the stored access policy. See, in simple terms, let's say when you create a container, table or a blob, right, within the storage account, the policy which you have created will be applied onto that particular container. So in that case, what will happen is tomorrow when you need to create some permissions like which get inherits uh, from the policy like start time, expiry time and all those things, different permissions, read, write, will get inherit from the policy itself, which was a limitation in case of service level and account levels, as because in those cases when the keys were given to the user or application, you don't have any control onto that, you cannot change it on the go. So that limitation has been removed by the policy base as. So, just a quick recap. In this lecture, we studied what is shared access signature keys, then different types. Then we studied about the ad hoc, which we call it as service level SAS and the account level SAS. So, the type of SAS keys we discussed, ad hoc SAS and the service SAS. So, there are certain limitations with the ad hoc SAS, which were removed by using the policy based SAS. So this is it, friends, in this lecture. I would say a long lecture. So thank you for watching this lecture. Meet you in the next lecture.